let's take our seats and we will commence the inquiry very soon. Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will commence our inquiry this second day and final day of our inquiry. I will ask Ms. Shalin Gawi to say a word of prayer for us so it can give us blessing, give us wisdom, and give us the strength and grace to have our hearing so we can have a successful hearing this morning. Thank you, Ms. Gawi.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you that this is the second day. We thank you for a wonderful first day. We ask that you continue to bless us with wisdom, with guidance, and continue to inspire our hearts to do the work that you've given us to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for making effort and responding, especially all our provincial administrators. Some of you are here. Some of your colleagues might be still on the way. I hope they arrive today before we end the inquiry today. Thank you, everyone, for making time to be available today for us to have a very good dialogue, exchange, and discussion on a very important national agenda concerning rights of our people. 50% of our population are women and girls, and they have equal rights to be full citizens of their country, to live freely, to enjoy the benefits and all the opportunities that are offered or created or available in their country, Papua New Guinea. It's also a major development issues that affect all of us. It's not just about women and girls. Equally, it's about men, because the statistics shows that the main perpetrator of gender-based violence generally are men. So it's about our character as men, our value system, our virtues, what is important and what defines us men. So it is equally a men's issue. And the situations, shows that if men change our behavior, we become more respectful. We recognize women and girls as human beings, as full citizens of our country. We respect them, their space in our country. Then we will reduce gender-based violence, and we will work towards building a great country where men and women, boys and girls have equal space, equal opportunity. They can together provide leadership at all levels, use our collective energy and collective ideas, minds, innovation. We have to visualize that. If we visualize that and work backwards, then we will get there. So I want to give us that small reminder as we commence our hearing. I want to acknowledge my committee members, My Deputy Chair, Governor Alan Baird, is not in this morning, but he will join us later on. He was with us yesterday, but today we have the privilege of having our committee members, Member for Northwest, Honorable Lawyer Boy Samuel, thank you. Member for Alata, Honorable Ricky Morris, and we have our committee member, member for Wow Warrior, Honorable Mash Narawek is here with us too. So we have quorum. The bylaws of committees in Parliament and our terms of references given us a quorum of 4. I want to say this too in terms of procedure that the quorum is required when we commence the inquiry. So if the numbers go down, we still have the authority to proceed with the hearing. So this is what I want to explain to all of us. I want to explain too that the committee is an extension of Parliament. So we are conducting the business of Parliament. So Parliament, we have Parliament session, but beyond Parliament, the members of Parliament, especially us backbenchers who are not ministers in the executive government, we are appointed as a committee in different committees. So the committees, we have oversight over executive government at all levels. So we have powers to summon the Prime Minister because the Prime Minister is appointed by Parliament. So Parliament has authority over the Prime Minister to call the Prime Minister to account. And all the ministers of state, all the governors too, all the departmental heads and heads of statutory organization, we can summon anybody. We have powers to summon too, but at this time we are not using powers to summon. We want to have a good dialogue, good exchange, so that it's based on recognition and respect, that all of us collectively respect the agenda and the terms of reference of our committee, and we can have that dialogue. We can be compelled to use the power of summons later on. And if people don't adhere to the summons, we can have them charged for contempt of Parliament. So I want to give this oversight so all of us understand the power of the committees, not just these committees, but all the other committees of Parliament. So we have wide powers, and for us as a committee, our priority now is to get us to take the situation at the end, the challenge at the end, seriously. You all have heard the Parliament spoke last week. Parliament was very unanimous. We recognize the seriousness of the situation, the escalating prevalence of gender-based violence, and Parliament has made a commitment to take action, not just talk, but take action. So our provincial administrators who are assembled here and all everyone else who have come for the inquiry in one way or another, I want to impress on us that we have an emergency. We are in a crisis situation, but how we have set up and how we have responded to this crisis since 2016 up to now, when we launched the strategy up to now, does not show that we recognize the crisis. We recognize that it's reached a pandemic level. The statistics last week that presented to Parliament, presented here as well by our stakeholders, it's a very alarming statistic. In 2016, when we launched the strategy, number of women and girls who were recorded by the survey to be subjected to violence in one form or another, from subtle one, psychological harassment or threats and intimidation to, horrific violence. The numbers was about 2.something, 2.3 or 2.4 million. Since launching of the strategy up to now, 9 years, the strategy ends this year. The rate is not gone down. That's the somber reality we've got to come to terms with. It has in fact increased, escalated to, what's the amount? 3.4 million So M no go down, M increase here. In 2020 to 2022 or 23, we were, together with the rest of the world, inundated by COVID-19. And COVID-19 compelled us to shut down the country, shut down movement, shut down, personal movement, shut down work. And we had a controller of the state of emergency. The commissioner of police was the controller. He's still the controller because the emergency laws have not been suspended. And we allocated a lot of resources. There were efforts at the national level, right down to the local level, to respond to that pandemic. That's how we respond to pandemic. But gender-based violence, we have not responded that way. So it comes back to us whether we understand and feel the pain and suffering, trauma that victims and survivors have to face. Provincial administrators say here in Port Moresby, just going to market is a trauma for women and girls. Just going to bus stop, doing normal things. Just going shopping too. Just getting on a bus from Gero to 4 Milo. And we have to ask ourselves, is that the type of country we want to build and live for our children? And of course it goes to extreme, horrific violence too. In our city this year in February, we are reminded by this killing at Mari Barracks, not by some unknown people, but purportedly the husband or boyfriend, or they've been living together. And the perpetrator was a soldier, PNG Defense Force, supposed to be the most disciplined force or institution of our country. But the partner or girlfriend was tortured to death. And then we have reminded again at Baroni. This is a gated community. All Putimbanis here, security staff, but 20 to 40 men and boys. They raided that place for whatever reason, stole or looted. But of all the people there, they didn't pick on a man, they picked on a woman, a young girl. And they kidnapped her. And I have to remind us of this graphic story so that we understand the pain and the trauma and the injuries that's caused to the victims and survivors and their families. They kidnap her, they, multiple rape, and then they killed her. As if that's not enough, they mutilated the body. They cut the sex organs and the breast. This is behavior of men in our country. And it's based on gender because you may look at him, all the picking all man pull up, there's the gated community. Like last year too, around October, a young girl in a prime, Jessica Yori. She was in of all place, Tabari place. Tabari place is right in the middle of our capital city. It's in the eyes of everyone. Now all men pull up, young men, elder men, but this perpetrator picked on this young girl. That's why we prefer to it as a gender-based, because it's based on gender. Men want to pick on women. Provincial administrators and everyone too, just to stress the point too, when we look at all this sorcery, accusory related violence, it's a new phenomenon. I was born in the 60s, and in the best part of my life, Mina sa lugim des lao, arem des something. Most part of my life, I hear that it's mainly men who are practice sorcery or witchcraft or something else. But in the 90s, there's a new phenomena called, you know, of accusing people, especially women, of practicing sorcery. So you see where the sorcery-related violence has taken place, the victims are mainly women. Some young women, but mainly elderly women. They live on their own. So when something happened, maybe some young men died or some young woman died, instead of getting a postmortem to find out what is the cause of death, why this person suddenly died or got sick, or no, we accuse this, elderly woman who prefers to live on her own. Maybe the husband had passed away. She's gone through life, experienced the ups and downs on life, and she prefers to live on her own. Instead of respecting her and her life, you may accuse him of sorcery and then subject to horrible torture. And this is what is happening in our country now. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to commence our inquiry, I want to give you all that overview. Our committee, we want us to organize ourselves to understand that this emergency, to have empathy and sympathy for the victims and survivors. For us as men, try to put ourselves in the shoes of women and girls of our country, the pain and trauma that they feel. In the city, it burdens me that young girls can go to bus stop freely. Mothers can go to markets freely. They have to think twice or three times, calculate. Some young women, in Port Moresby, they just have to pretend to have boyfriends or hurry up to have a boyfriend or enter into the relationship, not for love, but for security. Is this a good lifestyle we are giving to our young girls? It's absolutely not right. Young girls, young women, like young men, should decide their life freely. If they want to have a relationship or enter into a intimate relationship, it's up to them to decide whom they really like or who will add value to their life. Then they can have a journey together. But in Port Moresby, and I suspect other cities and towns of our country too, young girls are forced to have boyfriends or have a relationship with men just to have security. Maybe financial security, other forms of security, but of course physical security, because they feel intimidated. All kalau bas you may steal a billion belong ole, stealing phone belong ole. This can't be the country that our founding fathers they envisaged and put in plan this constitution and then the 5 goals and started us on this journey 50 years ago or 49 years ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, our provincial administrators, representative of our provincial government, I hope this overview gets us to appreciate the work that our committee is undertaking and the reason why we have compelled you or asked you to come. And so we can have an exchange in, I think the main task is to respond appropriately and to take action. Papua New Guinea, our daughters, they had enough of us men talking, blah, blah, blah. They want to know what we are going to do. So Parliament too, Parliament has spoken, so we are Committee of Parliament. Our responsibility is now to convert these words into deeds, into action. So we are here to hold everybody accountable. So yesterday we have a session with the frontline Department for Community Development. We have also the Secretary for Treasury was here. Department of Health Deputy Secretary and his team were here. This is a frontline department. Department of Attorney General and Justice. The Secretary Dr. Eric Kwai and his team were here. And we have the Chief Magistrate also was here yesterday as well. we have gone through the frontline departments or stakeholders who are, are responsible for implementation of the strategy that was launched in 2016. Today is primarily to have an engagement with at the subnational level with all our provincial government. So our understanding is that the provincial government, most of you, majority, have put together a strategy to respond to gender-based violence at our provincial level. And so we want to elicit from you how far you've gone. Has it been endorsed by your PEC? Has it come to your provincial assembly in the budget session? So budget is allocated. And what are the capacities you are building in your respective provinces? So we can have this as part of our report, and more importantly, to make recommendation. So some WPI, Governor WPI no respond and not taking heed. This is what the recommendation will be about, and we can bring the governors to account. If the governors are impediments, we will summon them to come here. So it might be still at the administrative level. Maybe some have gone to the political level at PC and provincial assembly. We can have this discussion and then we'll take it from there. So thank you once again. I think we will go through. Yeah, we have some provincial administrators, I think, from West New Britain. I think they. What I want to propose on behalf of our committee is maybe a number of you provincial administrators who are here. We were thinking that we'll go through that by region, but everybody is not coming through that way. So maybe your provincial administrators, maybe 5 of you can come to the podium at the front and introduce yourself. And I think we can go through each of you to do a presentation and have the interaction with us, and then we can have another set of 5 to come on.
Let's get Western Britain first, because they have a plane.
I think Western Britain is here, so you can come forward.
Because they have a plane to catch up.
Yes. My understanding is that they are going to host a delegation from the national government on Thursday, so they have a plane to catch, so we can come past them. But you are the provincial administrators also here in session 2 can join him in the seats that are available. There are 5 seats in front, so if you can pull them up, you can start the session. Those are the ones here.
Central Province.
Okay.
Million Bay, more Bay.
The program Guinea is control on different regions or stuff.
Yeah.
But because Western Britain, because still suppose local or local.
Yeah.
So para more PNC and then
Okay.
that is southern region by our administrator.
All right.
Yeah, because they also have a plane to catch.
Yeah.
Straight after this, yeah.
So after them, southern region over the administrator can come on top.
We'll give priority to West New Britain, not for any other reason, but because tomorrow they'll host a delegation from the national government. Some ministers are going to West New Britain today. So they have to catch a plane, so the administrator is here. Please introduce yourself and then we can start the discussion. Introduce yourself and do the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, Governor Boris Bakop, Governor of NCD, and Chairman of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women Empowerment. And I also like to acknowledge your committee members, member for Mosby Northwest, Honorable Lawyer Boyce Samuel, Honorable Member for Alatao, Honorable Ricky Morris, and Honorable Member for Wawaria, Honorable Narawek. Thank you for the invitation. It is a great pleasure for us to be present this morning, just to give a snapshot on what in West New Britain we have done or we are planning to do in terms of addressing this very important national agenda on gender-based violence. We have a short PowerPoint presentation to make, so it will be done in 2 parts. I will do the the introduction, and then later on I'll hand over to our chairman for our provincial GBW Action Committee, Dr. Nale. Is the Director of Public Health within our Provincial Health Authority. Thank you. As we go through the PowerPoint presentation, you'll basically come to realize what, as a province, we are doing. West New Britain is unique to other provinces because of the economic activities that has taken place since the 1960s with the introduction of the oil palm development in the province has brought about people from all over Papua New Guinea to settle in West New Britain. And with that settlement arrangement has brought about a lot of social issues. And one of these agendas we are deliberating on is prevalent also in the province. So it gives us this great pleasure to be here to share with, say, your committee and also with the other provinces so that we can work together and share ideas on how best we can address the prevailing gender-based violence issues and challenges we faced in the province. Our presentation outline, as indicated above, on the board as follows: acknowledgement, background, status of GBW in the province since the time we started, our referral pathways, partners and members of the Technical Working Committee, achievements under West New Britain GBW Strategy Priority Action Committee. The responses made in 2025, since up till 2025, and the patterns that we have seen of the emerging cases that we are now faced with and trying to address, the challenges and recommendation. Chairman say, it is, I take this opportunity now to formally acknowledge the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women Empowerment for this important gathering that we have been asked to come here and share on what we are doing in Western Britain. I would like to acknowledge, say, Honorable Governor, your leadership on taking lead in this agenda, and also your Deputy Chairman, Honorable Alan Bed, Governor of East Sepik, including your committee members, as I've mentioned earlier on. I'd also like to acknowledge our Governor, Honorable Sasindran Mutual, for being very supportive in this agenda. Many a times he's been vocal on media on these issues that we are confronted with in our province. So it is equally important that we are here to share our experiences. I would also like to thank the Department of Community Development and Religion plus the National GBW Secretariat for the oversight and technical support that has been given to us in the province to progress on addressing the issues of gender-based violence. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our development partners for the partnership. Development partners, since we started accommodating the issues of gender-based violence, we had the support from UNDP plus other UN agencies, the European Union, and more recently, since last year, under the APLJ, the Law and Justice Sector Partnership Program in the province, including other civil organizations that has partnered with us, both the Provincial Health Authority and our Provincial Administration, to implement our gender-based violence strategy. I would also like to acknowledge the other line departments that we dialogue with, our law and justice sector in the province, and our department, police department, and the correctional services as being one of our partners in addressing GBW in the province. I would also like to acknowledge other distinguished guests, my colleague provincial administrators and the provinces who are here today to do our presentation so that we all learn from each other and move forward. Briefly, in Western Britain, our Gender-Based Violence Action Committee was formed in 2020 as per the PEC Decision 18 of 2020. PEC Decision 18 of 2020, based on a policy submission. The formation of the Gender-Based Violence Action Committee in the province was an outcome of the first National GEWE Summit 2020, facilitated by the United Nations Spotlight Initiative Program and the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender-Based Violence, following the launch of the National GEWE Strategic Plan and the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Strategic Plan. On the 30th of September 2020, the Western Britain Provincial Executive Council endorsed the Provincial Gender-Based Violence Action Committee and approved the stakeholders and partners that now forms that committee. As you can see on the board, that's the PEC, copy of our PEC decision. Next. And that's the copy of our PEC decision. And the previous slide was the copy of the composition of the Provincial GEWE Action Committee. Next slide. And more recently, we decided to create our own common seal so that it reaffirms that and give meaning to that committee. That's basically what I will be presenting this morning on what we have done from the start till now. I will now ask the chairman of our provincial GEWE working committee, Dr. Nale, to take us through the remainder of the slides.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Governor, and the rest of the committee members, honorable members. Thank you for the opportunity. I will continue the accolades have been given by our good administrators, so I will go straight to discussing the data that we have. Again, you will note that our graph, there is a lot of information missing, but what we have is basically a reflection of the committee since it started, and also a reflection of the relationship between the partners in the province, as you will see as I go through the report, the presentation. And you'll see, Chair, the first graph is about intimate partner violence, and you'll note that, and that's we received over 150 in 2020 to 2021. The figures of 2025 is yet to be incorporated onto this graph. The other, report that we are getting from the hospital is the physical violence, which is well over 160. Sexual violence, around 150 between the period of 2021 and 2024. Post-traumatic stress disorder, we are getting a lot of those. And other forms of violence, you will note well over 310 in the last the year of concern. What I need the committee members to note here on this graph is the fact that what we are seeing here are those presenting to our partners in the hospital, all right, and through our other stakeholders, all right. It simply means that there is plenty more out there that we are not capturing. And I believe some of the provinces will highlight those challenges which we will need to address in order to bring forth all this data, the necessary information we need to influence our planning moving forward. The second graph is basically a comparison of the GBV cases reported between the same period of 2021 to 2024 and 5. All right. The color codes are the dark purple. The first bar graph is for 2021, second, which is a light Pinkish is 2022. Orange is 2023. And yellow is 2024. All right. Please note that there is a significant and a consistent increase, as you can note. In 2024 alone, it's almost double to tripling the number of cases, both in intimate partner violence, physical violence, sexual violence, PTSD, sorcery accused, the SAV, and others. All right. And for us, that pattern, again, is a reflection of what's coming through the FSC, the Family Support Center, those coming through the FSVU, those coming through our partners, okay, during our referral partners, all right? And this, for us, is concerning. It's very concerning, because we're only dealing with peri-urban setting figures. Those which are out in the rural areas, we are not capturing those, all right? So while we are here presenting this data, our biggest concern is addressing our internal issues so that we can all invest in going out and advocating so that this data comes in and begins to reflect the true situation of the province. The next slide is a pie chart, and it's basically just an indication of the female to male ratio or the male to female ratio. The only point I want to bring here is that male is not being covered. And you know there's a lot of male who are also victims of violence, not just females. While we are advocating strongly for everyone, a collaborative effort into addressing female violence, we also need to have it specified in our strategies, and the strategies needs to be in place to also address our male, or to also accommodate our male counterpart, those who are also falling victims to violence, regardless of the form. All right, the next slide is basically just an indication of our referral pathways, partners, and the technical committees that we have established in the province. Remember, we are only coming around to start working together. We were established way back in 2010, but from 2010 all up until 2020, there was nothing much happening. There was still, isolated, functions happening. Police are doing their own thing. Health is doing its own thing. Community development, and the coordination was a challenge. All right, and that was the reason why, Chairman, you remember in the gateway discussion, I hinted on the needed standard structures that needs to be coordinated into the provinces. We cannot allow the provinces to be heading their own way, because that will be subject to the leadership in the province, be it the chairperson for GBVAC or the provincial administrator. So we need to have a mechanism by which a standard structure, for example, is given to provincial administration or the provinces, and the secular needs to be very, very clear, implement this structure. If you have to amend it, you have to justify it. Things like that. That, for me, is the only guaranteed way that we can be sure these structures are being implemented and specific functions are being addressed in the provinces. Outside of that, my good chairman, provinces, by kira pudon longem ya, or pudon kirap ya. And so, by this day and age, we need to be, more, strategic and more in our approach specifically. All right, so these are our partners, FSVU, the Family Support Center, which is basically, led by the Provincial Health Authority. We have within that the Family Support Center, the social works, the mental health unit, the HIV and AIDS unit, the physiotherapy unit. All these teams comprise the Family Support Center located. We have an establishment, as you can see on the slide, in the Provincial Health Authority. We still have issues to address with regards to confidentiality and all. It's a tiny containerized office. We're hoping that the new hospital redevelopment will be able to capture well-established family support center where we can address all the components that come with that center. We also have the FSVU at the police, which is basically comprised of family sexual violence unit, the CID unit. And basically, my good governor and chairperson, we are beginning to see, sensitivity. The response within the last, 1 year has is much improved. All right, we did not see that in 2023 and before that. But we're beginning to see sensitivity, and I believe these are results of support and sensitization workshop and meetings, advocacy conducted at all levels, also including the support from our stakeholders, the development partners. The launching, we believe the launching of the 20 days human rights in the province also assisted in that. And all the other lead-up activities to the 20 days activism, we believe also supported that. So we are beginning to see more positive feedback from our stakeholders in the province. But there is still a million tasks and responsibility and work to be done in the province, and I believe other provinces will say the same. And we have the managerial services, which basically is inclusive of the district court and the village court. All right, this next slide is basically just an indication of our membership to the committee. As per the strategy, which expires this year and is in the process of being reviewed, we have 20 areas, 20 sectors where we can select membership from. All right, but these are our members that make up the current GBVAC in the province. The next slide. The next slide is the GBVAC committee, and we acknowledge the partners, both the provincial administration, the provincial authority, and our other partners who sponsored the meetings that we conduct in the province, all the capacity building that we conduct in the province. It has been of great help, considering this agenda is not is kind of new and still yet to be fully appreciated and supported by everyone in the province. Achievements so far, based on the strategy, 12 strategic SPAA, the strategic priority action areas. Based on that, this is everything. I know there is a lot going on in this slide. Please don't, I don't want you to worry about the slide itself. I guess the point we want to make here is whatever achievement we have realized this last 1 year is basically in line with the strategy. All right. So these are some of our achievements. We are beginning to see a coordinated effort. It's not 100%. But it's still work in progress, and we are confident in time and with the support of other stakeholders, including the national GBVS, we should be able to address all our gaps in making sure that the coordination at the provincial level, or PHQ, is more effective. All right. So we have a coordinated referral pathway now, the Action Committee, as comprised of all those that have been mentioned already, the FSVU, CID, the healthcare professional, case managers. We've seen integrated visits to our districts. You note here that one district in the Nakanai, the newly created district in the province, and that's to a partner that is also well established, not under the radar until we received the information of them and we brought them onto the platform as a member of the GBVAC. All right, others that we see as an achievement, we'd like to flag as an achievement that we are seeing support funding from our national GBVS to carry out, and we've received the 60,000 kina. We actually brought the acquittal for that chairman, signed and ready to be submitted to the secretariat, to your team. And we are seeing more regular meetings. We are seeing more regular meetings, and that's because of the support, and we believe team are beginning to come around to recognize their roles and responsibility. One of the challenges, all right, so that's that. In terms of SPAA 5.3 stakeholder and partnership coordination, our efforts with support from the APLJ, we have conducted meetings. We have conducted meetings, and they continue to support us. We have done a learning visit, an exposure to lay, and we acknowledge the lay team were here, and we appreciate it. We learned so much from the lay team, well organized, and I guess that's the reason why we requested for this learning experience, the trip to lay. And I believe we're already in discussion to have a meeting and a visit to the NCDC. As you noted, we asked a direct question to you, my good chairman, during the Airways meeting, and that's because we recognize that you are 10 steps ahead in terms of the GBV response, and we'd like to learn more from your team here. Sign language conducted as one of the lead activities for the 20 days activism. Youth and self-awareness conducted, and gender sensitization training also conducted, again with the support from APLJ, and we thoroughly acknowledge them for that support. Stand-up one-time behavior change, that also supported by UN Women, conducted in 2023. Conducted in 2023, and we acknowledge them for supporting us, and we are still in dialogue to see where else and how else we can partner to conduct some more activities in the province. Chairman, I'm almost done. Last is the GBV case management and referral. After the lay visit, our team introduced another activity, which is case conferencing, and that was something that the team learned from lay, and we acknowledge the lay team for that. And that is something that's been ongoing. Capacity building, we have a case management training also conducted, supported by our national team. Counseling and training, supported by PNG Councillors Association. Ran for 2 weeks, and then we have the human rights defenders training supported by APLJ. Sorry, DJAC, Department of Justice and Attorney General. All right. All right. In terms of infrastructure, my good chairman, we have and we acknowledge the provincial government through the provincial administration and the physical planning board for allocating land for us. Our idea is to establish a one-stop shop, basically a setting that accommodates all services that needed to be given, or a victim, a survivor, should be subjected to even before they leave our partners. And that should include training as well, or awareness of their rights, etc. So we acknowledge the provincial administration for allocating that land, as you can see on the slide. The administration also supported us with 300,000 kina that is going towards the preliminary activities, including the geotech surveys and title acquisition. Through the Department of Lands and Physical Planning, and we are currently discussing the design concept, and that is something that we will bounce off our national team, so that while the design may be customized for West Britain taste, we also want to make sure that all services that needs to be in the one-stop shop must be in the one-stop shop, including an 8-post. The facility is located close to the 8-post, so our thinking is to merge those two, so that instead of having isolated activities, the 8-post should be a component of the one-stop shop. So that's what's been currently happening. On the right, your left committees is basically a submission for the establishment of a perimeter fence. Again, supported by, submitted to, we haven't, through APAP submission through DFR's CDR, all right? And we're hoping to achieve that within the next 12 to 18 months. So far, our responses, we have carried out a multi-sectoral response based on complaints coming in. 8 of that in 2025 alone. 4 of that are high-risk rape cases. 1 is an intimate partner violence. 1 is a domestic violence. 1 is an incest, and 1 is an attempt rape by a biological father. The stories and the reports we are getting, my good chairman, is bizarre, is terrible. The only issue is that we are yet to establish a data capture system so that we're able to get every report coming in and do follow-ups with the support, financial support, do follow-up so that we can conclude a case as soon as it comes through our radar. Right now, we do not have that capacity to do that. All right. And with this pattern emerging from these cases, my good governor, as you mentioned and as you hinted in your preliminary remarks, many of these things were not seen, let's say, 20 years ago. We are seeing a very, very bad picture right now. The number of cases, of rape cases, has increased, and we are receiving, cases, reports every week. All right. The intimate partner violence, the number of cases are also increasing, and again, we are receiving it every week. And again, this is within the peri-urban setting. Amlo town, that's all. You can imagine what's happening in the rural areas where the 80% of the population is. And the domestic violence, the numbers are increasing. It's almost reports every day. And 3 of us here are members of the police alert group. And we see these reports every week. And so I guess for us, the need to establish that information management system becomes very, very critical. And the support, the necessary structures and the support that we need to be in the provinces so that we are able to respond to all this. All right, challenges, and these are just some of the challenges we hope that it can be registered. Governance, as you know, Chairman and members, governance is still an issue. And we mentioned that during our meetings 2 weeks ago with our community development, our good secretary, and we can acknowledge them for that time to be with us. And again, during the meeting at GEWE. We need to establish and have instruments going down to the provincial system, mechanism, the subnational, so that, they are able to move forward, creating positions. I know, and I'm really pleased to learn that NCDC has now a well, established GBV wing. And these are the kind of things that needs to be happening in the provinces. Governor and Chairman and committee members, and I believe the provinces will agree with me when I say this. The provinces, the current structure is that officers who have a responsibility in the structure only carry heavy blow GBV. And if we are serious, DPM need to step up. And I'm sorry to say this, I have a lot of respect for the central agencies, but DPM need to step up and work with other central agencies. We need to create structures. We need to create, positions for the provinces. The implementation is in the provinces, not at the national level. We have to create the positions, necessary positions in the provinces.
Doctor, can I just intervene there in the provincial administrator? The powers to create position, isn't it transferred to you all, or is still with the DPM? Or?
For new recruitments, new positions. They'll have to approve the positions that we want to. But the challenge that we always get is they give us a ceiling, and we work within that ceiling. To accommodate the structure, and that's the challenge that we have.
Sorry, Provincial Administrator, what's the basis of that ceiling? Is it based on just funding, or is based on need, or is based on a combination of both? Or you all have to come here to Waigani to do a presentation justification exercise, or they come to the provinces to assess? Or, and in the provinces, like all your colleagues with the, also I want to take note of the Chief Secretary from Bougainville too is here. Do we have a structure that is like one size fit all structure, or is a structure based on particular needs of each of the different provinces?
I think
Like some provinces are big, like my deputy chair was here, he'll always talk about Isipik is, because of land size, it's bigger than many of your provinces, so I need a bigger structure and so on. But just for our understanding, is the structure in the province based on like one standard size, or based on the needs and character of respective provinces?
Thank you, Chairman. I think that, from my view, the structure is a traditional structure that has been adopted over time. And it's a standard structure that is given down to the province, which says that in the district, in the provincial administration, that's the structure that you have in the districts. So like in our case, we only had 2 districts, Nakanai and Talasia. Now that the district is split, that template of that other district is just placed
Replicated.
replicated. So meaning that now population are increasing. So we shouldn't be looking at the traditional structures that we have now. With the increase in population, officers need to increase. We should increase manpower, public servants, so that they can attend to those population pressures, the increase in population size. So that is why it is a bit difficult when for example, in an LLG,
Yes.
we only have 1 functional officer looking after community development, when he has all these various range of duties and responsibilities. But as per the structure, they only approve 1 structure for the LLG community development officer. And to attend to all these cross-cutting issues, it's quite difficult. So we need to revisit.
Is it constrained by funding, or what is the key criteria from the DPM? What are they saying that?
Maybe the other PAs can come and elaborate later on that same subject.
But what is your experience, provincial administrator? Yeah.
Like, we have issues with funding. Our P budget determines our structure. And though when we come for SNE workshop, staffing and establishment workshop, we try to bid for increase in our P budget estimates, but we are given that ceiling for that year. And now, as I speak, we have a lot of vacant, unfunded positions in our structures. So those are the challenges that we have because of the ceiling.
And this is also because, the DPM or national government pays for everybody's salary.
Yes, for public servants.
Public servants, yes.
Yeah, for casuals, it's within our own recurrent budget.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's
all right. Please continue, Doctor.
Thank you, Chair. So I guess having instruments, memos. You remember when GEWE, the idea of GEWE came about, and DPM circulated, instructing the provinces to establish GEWE positions. That made it very easy on the provinces. I was acting CEO back then. I established the GEWE officer like the very next day. So such instruments coming down to provinces will help us address these gaps. All right. Whatever it is that needs to be done, but it needs to be coordinated, and our team need to be talking together, or DPM and finance. We need to be, looking for solutions. I mean, we make a lot of suggestions in the provinces, but it falls on deaf ear, with due respect. Yeah. All right, Governor, we and Chairperson, one of our challenges, and that's one of our challenges. Even the support for the governance committee, the GPVAC. In West Britain, because of 1 or 2 or 3 officers, we are able to thrive all through. In one of the meetings, I mentioned little things like incentives. I said I was chairperson since 2010. We have attempted to change that, leadership 3 times. Nobody was interested. And that the meeting was comprised of everyone, the PPC, the bishop, our good bishop, and everyone in the province. No one was interested in the chairmanship position. So I had to put
This
my
is the
hand up.
position you hold.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
There's no
and
incentive.
as you know, we need to move on. But
No extra pay or...
no, sir. But the point is, I believe if there are incentives, it will attract. I believe everyone will want to be, the chairperson or the deputy or a member to that committee. Little incentives, because these are added responsibilities. And we expect, people who are not within a public service, who will come and spend 1 day in a meeting, who have children to be fed. So, things like that. So we reckon incentives will also help in getting, this is a job that we all supposed to do out of our heart, but
Can this incentive be, met by provincial allocation? You could have this dialogue with the governor and the PC. Yet in the allocation, they can give some allowance or something. Make provisions for some
Yes.
allowance. I'm just flagging it here.
we can, and right now, right now we have a funding of 50,000 kina. Well, that's what we have enjoyed in the last 2-3 years, 50,000 kina under GBV in the province. But our efforts have been, supported largely by support from our stakeholders. And that's because the 50,000 kina basically takes a lot of time to be available, as you know, the process. And so that has been our challenge. But no incentives. So we will negotiate with that. But I guess the reason why I'm throwing it under governance and leadership is to get clear instruments from the national level going down. If you have to have a committee, if that is not stated in the strategic plan, have it established. Things like that as part of our coordination to the provinces. Another challenge, my good chairperson. Yeah, the lack of data, I mentioned that numerous times already. In a capture system, we just need to have a mechanism to make sure all data is reported so that we are using data to influence our planning. And the district, my good governor and chairperson, that district needs to be fully engaged. In the province, in our next plan, strategic plan, we're already discussing the structures at the district, all the way down to the LLG and ward. We want to see how the VDC and the WDC can be mobilized to support this. And that's gonna incur additional funding and training, et cetera, et cetera. So the DDA somehow needs to step up and support us. They are with 80% of the population. And our population so, Chairman, this is our last slide now. Recommendations moving forward is to create a safe haven, a concept. We're calling it a one-stop shop, our Western Britain concept. But basically, in that concept, in that infrastructure, or in that building, we want all the services that our survivors need to be in there. Including an area for counseling. If we have to stabilize someone before they go to the hospital, if they are in a critical situation, we do it over there. If we have to accommodate a space for medical examination and all that, everything must be done within. Because the current system where our clients, our survivors go, most of them have to go and wait at the accident and emergency because our hospitals in the country, the sensitivity is still not there. They treat all our survivors, especially, for example, rape cases. We need them seen immediately so that evidence is not destroyed. Some have to wait for hours, and they have to battle their wait as if they are not traumatized already. So we have to have dedicated services, and if we have to have it captured in some kind of an arrangement by way of an infrastructure, why can't we do that? So that's, for West Britain, we'd like to do that. We're working on the referral pathways. Any support from any stakeholders will also help us in that. Terms of reference, if there are no standard terms of references for the formulation, for the committees, then I guess for us moving forward, we have to establish that. But preferably, these terms of references should be done at the national level, so that 1 plus standard terms of reference as only plus salim law provinces, nami implement in Tasol. We may have to tweak it a little bit for the province, but we need to have something that is standard, being coordinated and facilitated by the national level. All right, and we wonder if that bullet point, enforcement of tougher penalties for polygamy, I think, this is something that needs to be in our conversation, my good chairman. I mean, we've had too much, and many of these that are coming out, that are being violated, we had an incident in West New Britain last week where number 4 Mary and stabbed him number 2 or number 3? Oh, number 2 stabbed him number 4. And she died instantly. And unfortunately, it's not their fault. They are all victims. All 4 are victims. And so, should we be blaming the one who is stabbing? Or should we be blaming the person who got all 4 in one house? So we really need to have a look at all these things. And we have to talk about it. 20 years ago, it probably right for us to have, to entertain that kind of culture in some of our provinces, and rightfully so, because the need was there. The situation is changed. We should not be entertaining such in this day and age. So we thought we should throw this in so that if the conversation has not started, we want that conversation to start. All right, and GESI, we have GESI officers in provinces, and we believe there is still room for them to expand their roles and responsibilities. So we are asking for the GESI in provinces to be redefined to cater for gender-based violence as well. My good chairman, that's our presentation for West New Britain. Our government is ready. The commitment from our governor is that when we went to Kokopo for the listening tours, our commitment from the governor is that, Doctor, go and commit whatever, as long as it's genuine and legit. So for us, we just need to be able to advise our provincial administration and our provincial government and district, and how we can work together to make sure that instruments are clear going to this in levels of government. We reckon we should work on that. Otherwise, thank you very much, Governor, on behalf of West New Britain.
Thank you, Doctor and Chairman of our committee in West New Britain, and of course, Provincial Administrator, thank you for your presentation. From the outset, I want to, on behalf of the committee, commend you all at West New Britain, including your Governor and the PEC, Provincial Assembly. I think you all have taken step in 2018, showing that you have recognized the seriousness of the crisis nationally, but equally in West New Britain. So you all have taken the first step, and that's the most important thing. Taking the first step is to recognize and put plans into action. As we go along, we will begin to improve the plans based on more clarity and understanding of the challenge in the context of West New Britain, and continue to get guidance and, as you said, Doctor, SOPs from the national level. But sometimes this SOP from the national level does not really reflect, the characteristics of provincial setting. Like West New Britain, geographically is a challenging place. Infrastructure-wise is still challenging. Southern part is still not accessible by roads. You have to come by air or go by sea, which is very challenging. So the SOP must take into account that aspect, but there should be some flexibility, so at the provincial level, you all can be able to work it out in the context of what your environment caters for you. Otherwise, I think the committee, we are impressed with the steps we have taken so far. Of course, there are a lot of things still have to be done before we can really make a difference. But you all have taken the first step, put the mechanisms in place, I think the challenge now for the Secretariat and national government is to see how we can support you all and work together. And this is the dialogue for our committee, is also to report to the national government that this is what the province need. This is what funding they need, or support in terms of manpower they need, the structures and system they need. So we must continue to have this dialogue and discussion. But what I want to say before I open it up to our committee too, in terms of responding to your recommendation, is firstly in terms of the one-stop shop. This is, you envisage a one-stop shop in all the districts or in the wards, or how do you envisage this in terms of your understanding of the situation in Western Britain? Should the one-stop shop be at the ward level or district level? Perhaps we can go incrementally from a province to district to ward, something like that. And secondly, maybe you all can think about how we utilize existing infrastructure. Like for example, this one-stop shop, maybe what is this initiative that the health department have, what they call it, Family Support Center.
The Family Support Center?
Maybe this one-stop shop, this concept that the health department has come up with, we can all own it, and it becomes the Family Support Center incorporating everyone. Health department, justice, police, counseling, can all get together in that concept, in that center, so we provide services immediately to victims and survivors. And that can be replicated gradually, or if possible in a fast way, right through the length and breadth of the provinces. And maybe we can have it in using existing infrastructure. Like we already or probably have health centers all over the province, right? So that we can build this facility near the health center. It can be an extension of our existing health center, so that we don't have problems with land or land issue. I'm just suggesting this. I'm not sure I want to recommend it in schools, because schools we have to keep it as a peaceful environment, stressless environment where our children can go to school. But maybe the health centers or aid posts or clinics, we can think about it. And the other facility that is available is the churches. The churches are everywhere, from the village to Port Moresby. We are full of churches. Full of churches. So
Great idea.
that's another story. But I want to say this: at Port Moresby, we are full of churches. Everywhere in Port Moresby, in all the wards and streets and different congregations or church groups are building churches everywhere. So it's good for spiritual side of life, but the physical and mental side and health side, we've got to factor that into the life as well, because life is not just spiritual, and so that's an opportunity that is available. I just want to flag this for all of us. We can have this collaboration with the churches. I think the other point I want to mention in this respect is that the Department for Community Development, in terms of provincial administrator and doctor especially, talking about the structure and systems. So DPM can maybe come on board with, us, all of you all easily. There is a national government policy to set up all these, what do you call it? Somebody from Department of Community Development here, community centers. Yeah, it's a government policy already. It's endorsed by NEC already. So the presumption, I'm flagging this because if we are having difficulty with DPM, and if we build this community centers, DPM should come easily to support it in terms of allowing you all to set up the position that is required to support these community centers. There's one, for example, in Walume in Mbongu, Minister and Attorney General. In the last term, I went to be part of the opening. So it has a lot, all the facilities. It caters for women and youth and SME. I think there's some medical capacity there. And also it's got a safe house. So if we follow the model in Walume, and the minister took advantage of the fact that the policy requires or proposed that these community centers be built in all districts, and it be funded on a 50-50 basis, or national government and provincial government or DDAs. So that's another possibility we can think about, but I just want to flag that with you also. You all can consider it, we all can consider it together. It could form part of our recommendation. In terms of the discussion and your recommendation on discussion on polygamy, I think our recommendation does, in the past, the Special Parliamentary Committee in the last Parliament had made a recommendation on this. This is indeed recognized as a cause of gender-based violence, but I want to make it clear that on the part of our committee, we have not proposed that we outlaw polygamy. We have not gone to that extent yet, and again, this is something that we all the stakeholders can be open to. Our preference at this time is that if you have the capacity and chose to go into polygamous relationship, that's your choice as adult, but it must be based on respect. Man respecting Mary, Mary respecting man, you all agree, you all want to extend your whatever, then it's up to you all, but if you all start commit gender-based violence, then we have to intervene. So perhaps the approach might be to, and we are taking that position at this time. My committee members will, can elaborate on this. But we are taking this position at this time because if we outlaw it and it's still happening, so we prefer to take that approach at this time, and perhaps what we all could be thinking about is to make it disincentive. Disincentive, like for example, one of the recommendations that we can propose is that if two of the wives engage in this type of violence against each other, where should the criminal liability lie? Maybe we change the criminal liability to the husband. You should be responsible for their well-being and everybody living together cordially or in a loving relationship. We presume that it's supposed to be a loving relationship. But if problem arises, then the criminal liability goes to the person who created or got this relationship together. So that's something we can think about as a disincentive. And I'm proposing this or suggesting this, putting my cap on as governor of our capital city. That law, for example, in national law, in the criminal law, outlaws sex work or prostitution as we know it. But in Port Moresby and pull up here. So I am faced with this situation where I will follow the law or I will have to regulate sex work in Port Moresby. And if we don't regulate it, then it's risky. Because the sex workers not getting proper medical care, including protecting themselves against HIV and AIDS, and it's a risk to everyone. If men can say, okay, we won't go to, sex work, then we might stop this thing, but it comes back to men's behavior. So the fact that we outlaw sex work or prostitution as is commonly known, doesn't mean that no that's, prostitution taking place. Hey, mostly in Pulavia. It's a fact, and I understand that it's a fact, and I am grappling in my capacity as a governor of a capital city, how I'm going to reach out to this sector of our community to make sure that if they are engaging in this activity, it's safe for them. Safe for them health-wise and safe for them, physically too, because some men, they abuse them. They take advantage of them, subject them to kind passing, and then they just give them some mere pittance of money and then they leave. So outlawing doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't happen. So if we outlaw polygamy, does it mean that men stops? So this is why our committee is cautious at this time, and we want to think about it in terms of making it not attractive. So one of the proposal we could submit as our recommendation is that shift the criminal liability. You man yuksim tupla or tripla or fourpla Mary in this case, your case that you just mentioned. Number 2 is taking number 4 for whatever reason. Okay, who's responsible? The men should go Lokamata or something and save time. So this just having this discussion with you. Our committee, you all have some questions to raise, or otherwise I will excuse the provincial administrator and Chairman Dr. Nale.
Nale.
So, just one. Thank you, Chairman. Just one question in relation to the level of budget support. I understand you said that Governor has made an undertaking. What kind of level budget support from the provincial government, and do you see this at the district level too, whether the members in the budget allocations under the DSIP are also committing support towards this fight on GBV? You also, in your presentation, I didn't hear you mentioned about the safe houses and shelters. Is that also captured? From the spreadsheet I have, there's 3 safe houses in West New Zealand, and if you can just confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think that's why earlier on we commended our Honorable Governor. He's been supporting those safe houses through his PSIP and our internal revenue. I think that's one indicators that we have seen the commitment by our government. What I would like to allude to what Dr. Nale has said, but at the DDAs, we would like to see that support to come in as well. We have 10% from DSIP, that's under law and justice, 20% under health. So if that can be also supported, some of those components, to support the work of GBB or women empowerment, that would be good. What happens at DDA, at the provincial administration, we have no control over. It is their budget as an authority. They decide on the expenditure. But then that needs to be elaborated at a higher level so that that information must go down to our open members. With due respect to you, sir.
Administrator, if you, in your view, if we were to make it a mandatory requirement in terms of reviewing the guidelines, would that help giving you that support?
Yes, sir, that would very much help. Because currently it's just open by percentage, and our leaders decide how they want to spend it. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you. There's no question, but I just want to comment the West New Britain team for a very good presentation that you made. You at least provide some information on your work on gender-based most information on your work on gender-based violence at the provincial level. So I would like to commend your effort. I just want to impress to the chairman and the committee and the secretary that I think two important points that you have mentioned. GBV structure, and I think that's a concern for everyone. Currently, the community development is overwhelmed with a lot of things. You have the women parked there, churches, disability. I mean, people living with special needs. You know, all these different needs back in community development, and now we are adding gender-based violence onto that. So it would be good for a direction from the recommendation from the community to the DPM to create those positions, because those activities on the ground, like for my LLG, we only have one community development officer, and he is required to do everything, to work with the women, work with the sports, work with the youth, work with the churches, work with people living with special needs, and work with all these things. So he's overwhelmed, and I understand that person. So Chairman, through you, I think that must be one of the recommendations that we make to the government, to create those community development positions at the provincial and district, especially at LLG and district level, so we can support the work of, because all these strategies we are coming up, people on the ground will carry those, do those things. If we don't have people, I don't know, volunteers, so we won't have development partners everywhere. We need to have positions created at the LLG and district level so that these activities can be performed by them. So that's I want to impress on the committee and Chairman you. So one of the recommendations we must make sure that those community development must all have all these positions at the district or LLG levels, so they can support the work of women's sports and all this. I'm facing challenges at the district level because I just have one officer doing everything, and it's really hard. So we have to get people on volunteer basis to help. The other point I want to impress on the committee is we have, I know we have family safe houses, those support centers, safe houses, family. That's I think funded by NGOs, and then we have family sexual and violence unit. That's under police. Now we want to create. You guys are doing the family support center. That's under health. I think we need to find out what sort of purpose and role safe house is providing, family sexual and violence unit is providing, and now family support center is providing. So I think a bit of clarity on that would be really good, or we can streamline the roles in this area. Please, maybe Chairman, you can respond to this.
Before we allow maybe the provincial administrator and Dr. Lareb to comment, or I make any comment, I just want to announce that our member for Northwest will take leave. He's got another engagement with another similar sort of a responsibility, I think, legal licensing committee, or the meeting taking place at the same time. So we will excuse him. Thank you, our committee member and member mostly Northwest. Administrator and chairman of our committee in Western Britain. Before I ask you all to be excused, I just want to raise a number of points. And we have given you a bit longer time because you're probably setting the scene so that your colleagues at the back, they can just come in and they can report appropriately or in the sequence of what we have said. But let me just, on the part of the committee, taking note of what our committee member Wawari has mentioned, let me also raise these points. Administrator and Doctor, firstly, in terms of prevention, can you elaborate if your strategy also include prevention apart from responding to the violence? Is there plans and that is running parallel to prevention, so we are changing behavior? In my presentation to Parliament last week, I pointed out 3 impediments that I'm raising, probably 2 of them with you now. you all know. One, we have not taken ownership of the strategy as a government, as all of government. Secondly, we are not prosecuting or successfully prosecuting because prosecution is a deterrence. And our rate of prosecution yesterday with the police and the Deputy Police Commissioner was also here too. And with the Chief Magistrate, what's his position? Yeah, Chief Magistrate. The statistics shows that the rate of prosecution is still very low. For example, in 2023, Health Department and police recorded about 30,000 reported cases across the country. Only 1,000 of the reported cases, there were arrests. And in terms of prosecution, I think it's only 100 and something, 123 or that type of figure. Very low percentage. So when we don't prosecute, we give permission to perpetrators to continue. And in terms of crime generally, when we don't prosecute, these petty criminals become Rambos, and then it consumes a lot of funds and effort and, on the part of the state to go after them and arrest them. So we have to prosecute. And that's something we continue to have dialogue with the police in this regard. So, but the third point that I raised in Parliament was about behavior of men and boys. So in this regard, have you all formulated a strategy to involve men and boys in the equation? And if so, what is the strategy? National government now has adopted, for example, remove this elementary school system and incorporate the early childhood. So do you all have a plan to utilize early childhood as a means of stopping bullying or introducing good behavior, or good values or practice or daily habits in young people? Because it's in the young people, when we start them well, then we give them a better foundation for the future. When they become adults, they know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. I keep reminding all our people here that it's, when a child is born, it's like a computer you may go buy in the store. The computer doesn't have, all the systems. It's just a hardware. You can buy it, and you have to install all the different components and so on. So a child is born like that. I'm just born with the basic toilet, kainosen. But the behavior and the habit and the value we have to install in them as parents, as community, as a nation. So I just want to get your impression, feedback on that in terms of prevention. Secondly, and especially where men and boys are included in the equation. Secondly, provincial administrator, in terms of the strategy, have you all incorporated into your provincial administration so that, for example, you all adopt a three-strike policy, for example, that all the employees of the West New Britain provincial government, from district level up to your level at in Kimbe, if they commit gender-based violence generally, we give them 1 notice, 2 notice, 3 notice, no cut now, and you must rouse him all. So I'm saying this because from our perspective of our committee, if we in government take ownership of the strategy and walk the talk, meaning you may implement him, we become the gold standard bearers. We show the way. Then our people will follow suit. But you yet as leaders, and mipla parliament too, mipla, hati mipla yadi, many of us might be perpetrators. If we change our behavior, and then you all in the administration change your behavior, we respect more women and girls, or otherwise stop violence, You like Yukadevi, want them marry below you or whoever, you find a way to strengthen peacefully. And, you know, I want to mention Chief Secretary below email of Bougainville is here. You may fight how many long time. We didn't solve this conflict in Bougainville. Then we chose peace. And now Bougainville, the mantra now is that, you know, solving the future by peaceful means. And the peaceful means is, you know, progress us to where we are now. So that should be a lesson on all of us. The violence in the smallest level or lowest level is trying to solve a problem, whether it's a family or in a relationship or in a clan. Or if it's shown that it's not solving problems, then we should adopt other means of solving problems, a peaceful means. So I think that would also demand that you landlocked provinces to have a mechanism or structure to assist our people, whether they are families or clans or tribes, or to choose peaceful means to solve a dispute. So could you comment on that, and then we'll bring you. I have another point here too, I think about, anyway, I think we've covered this a lot, but can you comment on those 2 points, and then we'll bring your session to an end.
Thank you, Chair. In regard to prevention measures that we are taking in the province to address this issue, firstly, within the provincial administration structure, we have this GEWE officer. The GEWE officer reports directly to the provincial administrator because of the sensitivity of the position and the nature of the roles and responsibility that GEWE officer will play. He more or less take on the public servants. If there's any issue, either the public servants defendants or the officer, either male or female, has that avenue to go to GEWE to seek whatever assistance. That's one how we deal with our public servants. From there on, if it is in contradictory to the general orders, that's when the GEWE officer refer the officer to the disciplinary committee to deal with him administratively under the Public Service Management Act and the general orders.
Is your GEWE officer active in this respect? Or?
Yes. The position only came about in this current structure. That was in 2019. Prior to the inception of the GEWE policy, that was around 2014-15. It was only on an acting basis until the position was accepted, being directed by DPM, and it was accommodated in 2019 structure. And that's one avenue that as an administration we can attend to and deal with public servants.
So if we adopt this, and our committee trying to recommend, and in fact we have had submission from the TUC, for example, they want us to pass a legislation to implement the act or to the general orders to adopt this three-strike policy. So three-strike policy and mitoge. First notice, second notice, third notice, you go now. So
that's what we do.
This is what you are practicing now.
As part of the disciplinary committee.
Yes.
If an officer commits an offense, the first he gets a letter of warning. If he continues, then it's referred to the disciplinary committee. They apply certain penalties in line with the general orders, and from the minimum to the severe. And then if he continues to do it, then we will have no option but to terminate the officer.
And this is in as far as workplace is concerned, or it also extend to the community and the family?
No, this is basically to deal with public servants.
So workplace?
Workplace, yes. Okay, for other prevention matters outside of the administration, that responsibility comes under community development, Division of Community Development. Our GBV, Provincial GBV Secretariat, is administered by the Division of Community Development. In the yearly work plan, they have a budget to go out to do awareness,
Yes.
all this training, and then we are also very grateful of our donors, our partners, both at the national line agencies, our civil society organization, and that they work closely with our Division of Community Development. So say if you could allow me, I could ask our executive manager to highlight the programs and activities that he carries out to address in terms of prevention activities that.
All right, but I just want to come back to your employees in the provincial administration, both at the national and, at the provincial and district level. You go to the ward. My point is that if they let's say, subjecting to their wives to violence, is this a basis for you all to take action at workplace or not?
Under the general orders,
Yes.
as a public servant can be held accountable for his actions against his dependents
Yes.
if it is reported.
Yes.
But many a times, the spouse, if she is unemployed, don't tend to report the case. We have seen it, but we cannot deal with the matter until the complainant comes and report. And there's been a number of cases that was brought to the office, but
Yes.
it was downplayed because the spouse didn't want to report because of insecurity, feeling that he or she may be pushed out and no means of earning coming to support him or her.
Yeah, Administrator, but this is where the strategy starts to fail. Okay, as I, suggested earlier on, that if we ourselves in government are not practicing what we preach, then we don't expect our people to follow suit. So, if an employee of a state, whether at the national level or provincial level, you come to work and you respect the protocols and the strategy, you respect the zero tolerance rule or three-strike rule, but you go to your family or your community and you are engaging in violence, whether it's gender-based violence or violence generally, not only you are, committing a crime, but also you are defeating the government strategy. And you cannot be an employee of the state, representing the state or representing the provincial government, going there in your family and in your community, trying to promote the work of the government, whether national or provincial government. So, and if that is not happening, in our committee, we are going to recommend that the strategy and the law, whether general orders or whatever, or we are going to amend the law. In the new law, we are going to hold our employees of the state accountable, whether at the house or in the community, or if you commit violence, you cannot be employed by the government. We'll give you the three-strike warning. Some corporates here in Port Moresby, they've adopted the approach, that rule, because they find that it's important for them as a corporate organization. You cannot be employee of a company and you go out into your community and you do all these things, even to your family. You cannot come and be productive because you are not living in a good environment. You are committing violence and you can't be productive, you cannot be useful, you cannot even represent the corporate entity. So they are extending that policy to the, residential homes or family homes, to the community as well. They want their employees to respect the rule of law, respect the strategy, both at workplace and at homes.
So I think that has been applied in the administration too. I was alluding to within the family cases, but if there's evidence of a public servant is conduct contrary to the general orders, they're subject for disciplinary action. And that is the way in.
Now it's just a matter of whether the wife, for example, comes and makes a complaint. Okay, then it comes to a question where we, raising with the police yesterday. If somebody comes and make a complaint and she withdraws it, what happens? The wrong has not been corrected. The mother or woman is compelled by so many reasons. I'm sorry, lo pignini, or maybe the husband will change again, or, and then she keeps going back, and the violence doesn't end. So at some level, the state, like the police, have to take some responsibility, because the statistics seems to show that it goes around 8 rounds. First time, second time, to 8 rounds, the women leave because they realize the men can change. But sometimes they don't go to 8 rounds because by 5 rounds, die finish. So this comes back to us as a state to bring our employees into account so that we stop the perpetration of violence at all levels. So I'm just emphasizing that point.
So beside our GEWE officer, within Community Development Division, there's a welfare officer position. And some of those matters are channeled through that officer to deal with. That's where counseling comes in. And that's where out of that, then the next course of action will apply.
Doctor, you want to comment on prevention, or shall we bring your session to an end?
Thank you, Chairman. All our strategies are basically in line with our strategic plan. And I've asked, with your concurrence, I asked the executive manager to detail some of our priority strategies in terms of response and prevention.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. In terms of prevention in relation to GBV, we approach it in a multi-sectoral approach because we realize that GBV is well, we all know that it's a development issue. It affects every citizen in the society. So what we have in our division, and we have this open door policy where we want to partner with all the stakeholders. What expertise we have and what we don't have, we have to outsource to the local partners. And also we are grateful that we have development partners that they are assisting us. So we are putting up a 2-year proposal which with the partnership with the APLGA, and they assist us a lot in terms of prevention, responding to GBV, SARV. Now that we have the corruption taken on board for the next 2 years that we have to address. So currently we have some programs that running at the moment. We thought that it would assist in addressing the law and order issue, and so is the GBV. So we are thankful to government and our good provincial administrator for taking on board the labor mobility, and we see that it also taking effective pace in order to indirectly or directly addressing the law and order issue, taking the youth from the settlement to come and be employed under the labor mobility scheme. So and another, we are partnering with the Tibet. Not always all the youths and they go through the formal education. So we have to partner with the Tibet to accommodate those that the dropouts. So to run upskill them, run skills training. So we have to conduct a need analysis to at least whatever skills that fits the the interest of the youths and the mothers. So we want to run more, and we have a gender-based violence action committee where we have a good working relationship with all the partners within the and we understand our roles and responsibility, and we see that all the referral pathways, they are entry points when they receive complaints from the survivors. they refer. That's we understand, and we are working together in terms of advocacy and awareness, targeting the communities. So in the strategy plan, we have 12 priority action areas, and we didn't mention some of these because most of these priority action areas it's an ongoing activity. We in terms of implementation, yeah. Like we have most of these priority action areas is aligned to the national strategy outcomes as outlined in the presentation. And one specific priority action area there is for community and patients engagement. That's where we refer to, engaging with local partners, engaging with community, social groupings. So,
Right. Very good. My question was very specific also. You all have a program or approach that is specific to prevention and specific to men and boys. We are engaging them, maybe at the teenage level. I can see some of the things you are doing, but maybe you all might want to go down to early childhood level. Because also we talk early childhood is where we start the journey of any human being. And habits and behavior and values are installed at that time. If we don't intervene there, like they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Even here in Port Moresby, I try to stop people from chewing betel nut. It's not easy. They've got used to it. It's registered in their subconscious mind. It regulates their behavior. So trying to get them to stop chewing betel nut, it's not been easy. We'll continue to prosecute it over a long period of time and they'll change. Maybe 20 years, people might change. But if we had start early and we stop our young men and women from not chewing betel nut, it gives you TB or it will probably a health risk or something like that, then we might stop it. So we are trying to go down to that level. So in terms of GVB, the main perpetrators, as you all your statistics show, is men, 70%. So that means we must have a program targeted at men and boys, so that all sense and behavior law. So anyway, this is a general question that all of us need to think about. But I need to bring our session to an end because all your colleagues are still out there at the back. So, and we are already going to 11:30. So, Administrator, let me thank you and your team. Doctor, thank you, and our officers too. Thank you. Our committee is very grateful with the steps that you have taken. Like everything, we have to take the first step. But let me say that the statistics, as you all have highlighted yourself, is alarming. So it requires us to double our effort, reach out to all sectors of our province, and of course, we have to impress the governor and your PEC to increase the budget. So we might have a recommendation in terms of SOP, like Doctor, as you mentioned. The SOP must include a budget line. Like there must be a minimum budget that gets things going, so that we at least show the seriousness of the situation and we are responding appropriately. So thank you for your contribution this morning. Thank you for making time, and let's work together to get your province to reach the standard that we expect, so that we are doing work that makes a difference. Statistics need to go down, and that's why I'm begging it and pushing the issue again. Thank you. You can take leave now. All right. All right, our other administrators at the back, I note that we have a representative from Central. I think the provincial administrator is attending to this governors conference that is taking place in Port Moresby at this point of time. We have a provincial administrator from Milne Bay, deputy provincial administrator from Morobe, deputy provincial administrator from East Sepik. We have the administrator from East New Britain, administrator from Oro, administrator Deputy Administrator from Enga, Chief Secretary from Bougainville. So this is what I want to propose. We won't go by region. We will go by whoever is here in attendance. So if it's possible, I want to call the Chief Secretary plus the provincial administrators who are here. So each of you can have a turn to make a presentation. So if we could have the Chief Secretary from Bougainville, Provincial Administrator Oro, Provincial Administrator Eastern Britain, Provincial Administrator Milimbe. The other Deputy Administrators, no disrespect, but we give you the Provincial Administrator and Chief Secretary preference, and then we'll come to your, yes?
Oh, thank you.
If Provincial Administrator and Chief Secretary, you have staff supporting you, if there's space, they can come and sit with you. Otherwise, they can just sit at the back to give you advice from the back or intervene when it's necessary. We have the Chief Secretary and from Milimbe, yes. Provincial Administrator of Milimbe. Is the Provincial Administrator from Eastern Britain here? Yes, please come to the podium so we can start. Oh, we have the Provincial Administrator from Eastern Islands also here, so Administrator, you can take the podium. So, the support staff, they can sit at the back, so when you all are doing a presentation and you need to get them to elaborate, they can just come in and support you all to elaborate. So thank you, Provincial Administrators and Chief Secretary. Thank you for making time for this important dialogue. You all understand, the situation and why we have called you all. Again, I repeat, the Parliament was very unanimous last week. We recognize the seriousness of the prevalence of gender-based violence in our country. Equally too, we recognize too the disparity in terms of gender disparity is manifest in the Parliament. In the Parliament, after 49 years, we can only manage to have 3 at the most members of Parliament. At the provincial level too, we have some females being elected as presidents or what members, but it's still mainly dominated by men. At the LLG too, it's a similar story, and it's everywhere. In the bureaucracy, I think 30% are women. In business sector too, we have the same, story in the business sector. So the work of our committee is to move us towards gender equality. That's the goal. But in order for us to arrive there, we have to overcome impediments, and one of the biggest impediments is gender-based violence. Violence stops women and girls especially from realizing their potential, from taking advantage of the opportunities available. Even in election, for example, men have a better chance of winning because they have more resources. How they got more resources? Because all these years they have more power, they control land, they control resources, they get the benefit of resource development. In the ILGs, for example, it's mainly predominantly led by men, so they decide how we divide the royalty or whatever, benefit that we get from resource development. So this is the scenario that we face in our country. So our committee main purpose is to move us towards the promise of our constitution, achieve gender equality. But in order to get there, gender-based violence is the biggest impediment. You got not only impediment to cultural and so on, structural and so on, and financial of course too. But number one, first and foremost, biggest impediment is gender-based violence. So we are all demanded to take action. So over the period of last year and year before, our partners have been working with you all, development partners, UN and European Union, all the our friends from different countries like USA, Australia, DFID, New Zealand, China, Korea, Japan. They've been supporting us. So I think most of you all have been putting together a strategy. So what I propose is we'll go from left, our left, your right to left. So if we can go this way and do the presentation, and then you all do presentation together, and then we can have an exchange. If we want to ask questions, we can ask questions that way. Yeah. Thank you. We'll start from you, from Bougainville. Yeah. Yeah. From Oro.
From Oro.
From Oro. Yeah. PA Oro. Thank you.
All right.
Let me also note and welcome our my deputy chairman and member of our committee, Honorable Alan Beck.
Thank you, Chair of the committee, Deputy Chair, and your members. I would like to also acknowledge the presence of my PA colleagues, Chief Secretary Lo Arob. I would also like to acknowledge in presence of all partners by me, stakeholder partners who are here and who are observing. For Oro, we won't be long, we'll be short. I've come with my technical team, my head of secretariat for GBV and SARV in the province, my deputy administrator, who is also the person responsible for community development, social sector, which GBV and SARV are under him, and they report to him. I also would like to introduce him as well as our focal point, the officer who is responsible for GBV and SAR, and our advisor for community development. So we are all here as a team. I shall present, but if need be, I can call them up to also, if there's anything that I've missed, they can also come and present. All right. We all know GBV and SARV is now become an issue in the country, wide. And when I visit schools or when I visit villages, communities, I always tell them this. It took us 50 years to break the safety nets of society, broke, and it will take another 50 years. Lo stretem dis la unbenblo society. And the longer it takes, we may face a situation where the country will not be able to manage. So before you may take him 50 years to mend that safety net, you must cut him down. You got less than 50. Maybe in the next 10 years, you may stretch him so that society basinan good. All right, for Oro, we see gender-based violence and, SARV, it's gone out of proportions. Related deaths is on the rise. This is the issue. People looking disabilities or PWDs, people living with disabilities, are on the rise, especially you look people that are taking drugs, local drugs, blame some marijuana, and one them over time it's affecting families, individuals. Now it's having an impact in this as well. Violence is pouring and involving whole families, communities, and society. Youths are beginning to mobilize and take part of violence, and it's becoming an issue for us. In Oro, global perspective to Oro. Now, as a provincial government and the administration, it's a concern for us. And lately you look in law, all social media platforms, news, that violence is becoming prevalent in our province and of course in the country. And escalate go on a level. And it's having a negative impact on GBV, SARV, inside law province, blah, blah, blah. And it is a concern for us as a government, the machinery of the government, the bureaucracy, the public service. And so we are now trying to take steps and measures as to how we can be able to address this. So the provincial government is looking at this as a whole. When I'm saying provincial government, it's the provincial government, it's the districts and the LLGs, structures of governance in the province. So we're looking at this as a critical development agenda inside the province. Now, for us now, we are coming up with a strategy. All right, we come up with a strategy. We've done our first draft. The strategy is aligned to the national one, and we have now we are now working on the second draft. And we are trying to push that draft through the Assembly, the PEC, and we want to launch our plan is launch the draft law 16th of September, time country turning 50 years old. We want to launch during that time so we give our people something to work for and to address this issue of GBV and SARV. So that's the second draft in place now. That's the strategy that we are going to put in to address the issue of GBV and SARV inside the Oro. We time frame for our strategy is 10 years. Budget people looking 2 million annually. For 10 years, people look 20 million. This strategy, we are intending that it will be managed by our Oro GBV and SARV Secretariat. Governance, Oro GBV and SARV Committee and partners will be the coordinating mechanism, managing this strategy, implement him. And they will report directly under our Deputy Provincial Administrator, which these activities come directly under him, and they report direct to him, and he reports to the Provincial Administrator as well as the PC and the provincial government. So, as I've alluded earlier, we are hoping to launch that strategy on the 16th of September this year to give something for people who work, try and address this issue in the province. Our vision is basically Oro Province to be an inclusive, peaceful, safe, and prosperous society in Papua New Guinea. Now, our mission, or this strategy, what we are trying to achieve is in the next 10 years, that's from 2025 to 2035, our province or the government will organize structurally and operationally to reach districts and LLGs. Maybe like Goran or this law, LLGs, na communities, we want to reach them. Pool its resources, funds, human resources, and infrastructure, bring in external experts in GBV and SARV space, and mobilize the critical key stakeholders of village, community, ward, district, provincial, national, and international levels, our partners at the international level, to address the root cause of GBV, SARV epidemic in our province. Chair, Mibalusi Mosemen, can I ask my head of secretariat, Lord GBV, to come sit down and take us through the next slides and complete him. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Provincial Administrator.
I'd like to sit here first. You can, it's okay.
Mobile mic.
Thank you, Mr. Magay, Oro Provincial Administrator. Thank you, Chair, Honorable Paco, and your esteemed committee members. I will continue from the administrator's presentation. So, for Oro Provincial government, we believe that the strategy that the national level that was done, it's a really good strategy for the last 10 years, 2016 to 2025. We have not actually implemented that until 2023. So our update will be from 2023. And the attempts that we have done, we had the first draft looking at just GBV was at, from 2023 to 2026. So next year it will expire. So our second draft is looking at the next 10 years, but includes now SOSURI, SAV. So we are looking at both GBV and SAV in the province. Now this direction, the national strategy, is really a roadmap. And we believe that once we have the strategy in place, it will coordinate all efforts, both government, civil society, and the community. So without the roadmap and direction from the government, we will all have all ad hoc activities we've been doing since today. And we won't have the impact that we desire. So that's our provincial strategy. We are looking forward 16th of September as the launch date as an aspirational strategy. You know, we're talking about problems now, but let's be aspiring. We are a resilient people. And let's aspire to do better in the next 50. So in the next 10 years, Oro wants to have a peaceful society. And right now, we don't have that peaceful society. We don't have data, but anecdotally, we feel it every day. We feel it every day. You know, can get money at one time data, blood, this, that. You may peel him through. Now, plenty blood, you mean we've already lost lives. So this is an epidemic in the country. So in our strategy looking forward, we have 3 pillars. The Oro Provincial government will partner with its partners. First one is coordination, monitoring and evaluation, and data collection. Very, very critical. So under coordination, the secretariat will be housed there to monitor the impact as we go annually in the next 10 years, and data collection will be part of it. Right now, we don't have the resources right now, but we believe through the strategy, we'll be able to mobilize that. Pillar 2, prevention. That's a very important pillar for us. because we believe that GBV and SAV, they are learned behaviors. They can be unlearned. So focused effort must be put into unlearning those behaviors. So as you can see from our strategy here, the prevention will be based on mindset, desire, thoughts, beliefs, values, culture, and practices towards behavioral change. There's a lot of very specific strategies there we have not put in there, but it's in our second draft. If you want, we can give it to you after this. Pillar 3 is the response and referral pathways, effective case management, which we've been doing all this time, but now strategically coordinated, and to pull all the resources together. Right now, we have churches doing some things, civil society doing their things, at the really small scale level. We don't see the impact. We need coordinated effort, and government must take the responsibility. And so our provincial government is taking that. It is now their priority agenda. That's why this strategy. We have put in the work that we have done so far. We have set up the GBV SAV Committee and Partners Coordination. They'll meet 4 times a year. And the membership is up there, all sectors. And we have included economic sector agencies like agriculture, fisheries and tourism, civil society, and human rights defenders to be represented in the coordinating mechanism, which is chaired by Mr. Inga, the Deputy Provincial Administrator. And this is their purpose: coordination and cooperation to avoid duplication. Right now we see a lot of duplication, little efforts here and there. But let's bring it together and coordinate the approach for greater impact. Share best practices and stories, assess how the GBV is addressed throughout the province, and discuss improvements. So that coordination mechanism will do that for all partners involved, all stakeholders, led by the government. Operationally, the Secretariat is being set up, and the technical working group, which I'm a part of. And so we've been tasked to have this launched by 16 September. So we have a task to do, and we are running. And we are grateful for the administration under our provincial administrator's direction. We have been funded 156,000 from the administration. This is to get towards the launching of the strategy, but we have a plan for to raise the 2 million kina before we launch. What we have done is to not just write the strategy, but start to mobilize support and get people to come on board, sensitize, and get them involved in what this is all about. Because one thing we realized, Governor, is that people know violence is happening, but they are either perpetrator or victim, so they really don't want to talk about it. They want to push it under the carpet. But it is getting out from the carpet, from the house, and into the streets and into the society. So let's get all the people involved. So we have this program called Educate, Inform, Engage. So this is the first one we have done. We brought in 220 community leaders from all over the 10 LLGs, all over the province. And we have gone through the strategy with them, sensitized them. Then we also looked at the implementing partners. Just have some. So one of the key agencies we looked at that will be part of the GBV strategy rollout is looking at who has the province-wide coverage. And we realized that a Council of Women, we can reach them